Good afternoon, everyone. This is meteorologist Terry Swails, and it is November 6th, and this is a special weather briefing on the wintry weather situation that appears to be developing in the next week around the Midwest and actually much of the eastern United States. We've seen some amazing flip-flops on the weather models here in the past couple of days, which is taking us from what looked to be a mild pattern into a much colder one and potentially even a snowier one. And one of the things that I'm starting to see now is actually consistency between the European and the GFS on this storm system. So when you start getting the consistency like that, it's time to start paying a little extra attention. A cold one out there today. Temperatures only in the 40s after the passage of our front yesterday. Cold northwest winds have locked in, and looks like we're going to keep the chilly temperatures around here for the rest of the week. But regarding the storm, let's take you to the European model here, and what I'm showing you now is what the actual model shows in terms of surface pressures. And there's a 992 millibar surface low down in the Texas Panhandle, and we're talking like out next Wednesday now, so this is a week away, and a great big Arctic high centered over south central Canada, and that is feeding around it very cold air into the upper Midwest. And with that low pressure down to the south and its tight pressure gradient that it's developing, there's going to be a strong east and northeast wind ahead of that low pressure as it evects some moisture into the Midwest. So that's throwing the moisture back into the cold air, and it appears that across Iowa and Illinois and points north, the temperatures would be cold enough for any precipitation to fall in the form of snow. And here's what the GFS is now showing. This is actually November 12th, so it appears to be about a day faster. But what you're looking at in the blue there is where snow is occurring across Iowa and most of northern Illinois, and it too shows that strong pressure gradient, which could mean winds up to 25 or 35 miles per hour, and that's of course assuming that the models are onto the right solution here. This is what you've seen on the site earlier today, and this came down with last night's European run and some incredibly huge snowfall totals for this time of the season across Iowa and northern Illinois. I mean, when I see things like this, I shake my head. It's hard for me to even believe something like this is on the charts, but that was it last night, and so I was very anxious to see what the GFS would do with it today. And sure enough, it also shows a pretty good swath of snow now across the northeastern half of Iowa and down through much of northeastern Illinois, and then actually into the Ohio Valley. And some of the snow totals there are in the range of around 3 to 6 inches, perhaps a few spots higher than that. So the GFS right now not as bullish on the snow totals as the European was last night. However, it is still showing the same situation, a snowy scenario across many parts of the Midwest. And of course, if there's snow, you don't know darn well there's going to be some cold. And these are the high temperatures that the GFS is forecasting on November 13th. Readings not getting out of the 20s, way below normals, which are still up there around 50 degrees. And check this out. This is the low temperatures, and of course this would be based on snow cover, so if the snow doesn't verify, this is not going to happen, but this is what it's showing, and it actually has single digits across northeastern Iowa and southwestern Wisconsin. So that is some remarkably cold air, and that's the whole situation with this system. We've got the cold air it appears to work with kind of bleeding in here at the surface, and warm moist air coming over the top. That's going to generate the overrunning that could certainly get this snow thing going. So we'll be watching that closely. One last thing to show you too is the 500 millibar chart from the GFS, and we're getting way out in time here. I think this was around the 19th, I'm thinking, somewhere like that, of November, and it's looking really, really cold. Another shot of Arctic air getting set to enter into the country. So if that happens, it looks to me like the end of November here could be pretty chilly as well. But don't want to get too far ahead of myself. The thing we'll be watching here in the next couple of days is how the situation unfolds with that cold air backing in from the northeast, and where the boundary sets up, where the low pressure moves along that, and where the heavy snow band sets up. And that is where we are today. Of course, we'll have some new information off the European, which comes in later today. I'll be sure to show you that tonight. And for the meantime, wow, we've got some winter on the charts. Have yourself a terrific day. Thanks for checking out the video. And as always, roll weather.